When you clearly don't work somewhere, but people seem to think you do. Welcome to this episode of I Don't Work Here, Lady. Our first one is from Certified Hood Classic, titled Angry Man Freaks Out When He Has to Pay a Ticket That I Had Nothing to Do With. A little bit of background information. I work as a tourism counselor in a small town in Canada, situated near a national park. We share a building with Parks Canada so that they can provide information about the park and we can give information about the town. National parks have an admission fee, and if you do not pay the admission fee, you receive a reminder that you need to pay. If you do not pay, then the reminder turns into a ticket, gets sent off to a collection agency, and you have to pay a larger fine. I am able to deal with these tickets at my desk, in case of it getting too busy at the parks desk. This does not mean I have anything to do with these tickets. Let the story begin. It is 5 minutes before closing and I'm getting ready to shut down when a clearly distraught man comes storming up to the door holding a ticket in his hand. He gets to the door and realizes he does not have a mask, still required in Canada at the time. He goes back to his truck to get a mask and doesn't even put it on when he enters. My desk and the Parks Canada desk are situated across the room from each other, and Parks Canada's desk is closest to the door, so typically, people will go to the Parks desk first. But of course, since I'm writing about this now, this gentleman came storming right up to my desk, yelling about his ticket. When he gets to my desk, he throws his ticket at my face, which ends up being a critical hit and leaves me at low HP. He then proceeds to let me know that he was going to throw the ticket out, but his girlfriend had convinced him to pay the fee. Keep in mind, this fee is only $10. I ask him the required questions so I can charge him the correct amount, and he starts yelling, saying, "I've been coming to this park for 15 years, and I've never had to pay an admission fee. This is bullshit." He asks how long we've been charging people to enter national parks, and I lean over so I can see the person at the parks desk who should be dealing with this lunatic and ask her how long. 1984, she says. This nice gentleman decides that me and the woman at the parks desk are lying about this and gets fed up. After yelling at me a little while longer about how stupid I am and how I shouldn't be working this job, he throws a $10 bill at my face, draining the last bit of HP I had, and storms off. The woman working at the parks desk proceeded to thank me profusely for dealing with him, as she should have been the one dealing with him. One thing I don't think I'll ever understand about people in general is, if you're rude to somebody, do you really expect them to want to bend over backwards to help you? I guess a lot of these people think so because they're rude to pretty much everybody they encounter that could help them. Our next one is by Dark909911, titled I Don't Work Here, But That's My Daughter. She Does. Sitting with my kids and grandkids, we got to talking about different things in our lives when my daughter reminded me of this one. I asked if I could post and she said yes. Around 5 years ago, my eldest daughter used to work for one of the local grocery stores as a cashier. I'm not trying to brag here, but my daughter is beautiful. She was going to be a model, but has a heart condition and the stress of the job would be too much for her. Even after 3 kids, she's only 52.1 kilos, 115 pounds for US readers, at 1.5 meters tall, 5 foot 8 inches, with long dark hair, almost black, but not quite, and eyes so dark it is hard to see her pupils unless the light hits her eyes just right. People involved were, no real names, my daughter Annie, mouthy idiot, store manager, and a tiny part of me. One day as I was done shopping and waiting in line and was 2 people behind the one at the cash register my daughter was working at. By this time, I can see the look on her face and know she's getting a hard time. I only had a few items, maybe 3 or 4, so I asked the lady ahead of me if she minded me skipping ahead. She moved over and let me pass without a fuss. I thanked her and turned my attention to my daughter, and this guy at her till ready to go into full protective dad mode. At this time, I was about to say something to this mouthy idiot. He had been hitting on Annie and flirting, and when that didn't work, he started commenting on her body. That's when I moved forward in the line. I'm glad she got her mouth from her mother because she let this guy have it. She told him how disgusting he is, how he is an embarrassment to all real men, and many other things only those who worked in retail have to put up with. The mouthy idiot could have left at any time, but stood there like a child getting scolded from a teacher in elementary school and took it all. Annie did not raise her voice, but leaned over the pin pad for a debit card, looking him square in the eyes the entire time. At this time, her manager came over to find out what was going on. So Annie repeats many of the things this guy has said to her, and the manager is in the process of telling this mouthy idiot he is no longer welcome in the store. I leaned over and said quietly in his ear, "I can't wait to welcome you to the parking lot." I'm not a small man, but no giant either. I am 1.8 meters tall, 6 foot 3 inches, and 102 kilos, 225 pounds, but he was only up to my shoulders tall, and nearly half my weight. I didn't seem to scare him at first, because he squared up to me, looking up and asked, "Who are you, security?" Annie spoke before I had the chance and said so sweetly, "Hi, Daddy." I said, "Hi, baby girl." At this, the entire front of the store, workers and customers alike, watched as this mouthy idiot ran out of the store. The funniest part was he left all his groceries and his debit card behind. He had to come back for it sometime later. Annie never got in any trouble, not even a talking to. The manager was 100% on her side, and mouthy idiot was banned for a year. I could mention here that the manager and Annie are best friends outside of work and take vacations together, both families. But is that really important? I am proud to have helped raise a strong woman and a force to be trifled with. Edit. I've been catching flack for a few math mistakes. I used Google converters and those were the numbers it spit out. Sorry they were wrong, but I can't do the maths in my head. I for one think that people shouldn't have to go to work and be dealing with morons like this, and it's sad that a lot of people take advantage of people in a work situation because they know that if that person talks back to them, the customer, they'll usually get in trouble. But I know for a fact, the customer is not always right, and in this case was extremely wrong. And our final one is from The Gaming Mag 3, titled, "Angry Boomer Argues With Me While Stealing the Items I Was in the Middle of Paying For." This happened about a year and a half ago now, just before COVID. I used to work in a restaurant. We had to deal with a local Aldi, supermarket chain big in Europe that had moved to Australia in recent decades, where they'd ship in ingredients for us in bulk with a slight discount, and we'd order every 2 weeks and pay 50% in advance and 50% on pickup. Since they worked on a quota system, they loved us for it. On this particular day, I was going to make our fortnightly pickup. For some context, their uniforms in Aldi are a bright blue shirt with charcoal-like trousers, shorts, skirt, etc. At the restaurant I worked at, there wasn't a uniform for both kitchen staff, only some guidelines, so I was wearing a bright blue t-shirt with some patterns on it. It wasn't colored like the uniform, but still blue. So there I was, chatting to the cashier, who by this point I was quite familiar with. She was pretty cute, and at the time I was working up the courage to ask her out. So yeah, long chat, while she put through our massive order. Stacks of boxes of buttermilk, bags of flour, drinks, oil, etc. While we were chatting, I didn't notice the 50-year-old guy at the next checkout queue grabbing some of the boxes of Coke cans. I only noticed when the cashier pointed it out to me, so obviously I walked over and confronted him. I'd already worked 8 hours with another 6 ahead of me, so I wasn't about to take any of this BS. I asked him, "Excuse me, fuckwat, what do you think you're doing with those? They're paid for." To which he replied, "Fuck off, kid. Paid for by who? Quit flirting with your girlfriend and get back to work." Now, I was raised to respect my elders and all that, but this dude was the epitome of everything wrong with that generation. So I started going off on him, that I didn't work here, and if I did, I wouldn't let him in the store. Don't even remember what I said from then on, since we were both yelling. Do know it was pretty colorful though. Eventually, the manager of the branch who comes to help me load up so he can sort out the invoice was called and had to drag us away from each other so we didn't end up in a fist fight. Thanks to the cashiers, it all got resolved while I went and cooled off. By the time I got back a few minutes after, it was sorted and I could finish paying and load up. Pretty sure my old work still orders there to this day. Never did get that cute cashier's number because of COVID. I love how he just assumes you work there just because you had a blue shirt on, and then, I think my favorite part is, when he asks, who paid for it? Well, if he didn't pay for it, why is he taking it? You know? Things like that, you just wonder why it doesn't click in their head. Alright, that's enough stories for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of I Don't Work Here Lady. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons, have a great day and stay safe out there.